Satisfied with the limited distribution of this consent agreement?
Yes, as I said, Madam Chair, it's our understanding that Citibank has engaged in an extensive compliance program following their settlement with the US DOJ. That compliance program, we think it covers the right people, but also with what we've put in this consent agreement, the levels in the organization, we think these are sufficient, levels that were involved in this collusion.
Just a few questions, but an introductory one perhaps. Did you consider the possibility of a contravention of Section 41A? Because I notice your initiation referral and this consent refers only to 41B, 1 and 2.
Yes, that's...
And if you did consider a contravention of Section 41A, could you perhaps share with us why you didn't pursue an investigation into Section 41A?
Thank you. We have not considered 41A because this is a hardcore cartel. So when you're dealing with a hardcore cartel, you don't need to look at a section that says, the agreement may substantially prevent or lessen competition. So in other words, Honorable Member, once you establish that the agreement involves price fixing and market division and collusive tendering, you then use the sections that deals with that. It is only when you have agreements that do not include any of those conduct or practices that you can look into the effect section, which is the 41A.
Then I notice in your consent you define an affiliate, and you also define a subsidiary. Now, could you explain to us the exact and precise relationship between Citibank, Citigroup Incorporated, and Citigroup Global Markets Pty Limited?
With your permission, Mr. Chair, I'm going to ask Citibank to answer that question because they are the one that insisted on the definition of affiliates.
If I could address that, Citibank Inc. is the holding company. Citibank Global Markets, as I understand it, is a subsidiary of Citibank NA. And Citibank NA is the operative unit. If the tribunal would go to the definition of it, it's clear that it's the body through which the branch in South Africa operates. And that's perhaps made more clear in the referral itself. On page 27, paragraph 21, states that 27, paragraph 21 of the referral. So it records that Citibank NA Citibank NA is a subsidiary of the Citigroup.
What page?
Page 27 of the referral.
Okay.
Oh, I do apologize. I have a paginated record, but it's internally numbered page 8 of the referral, and it's paragraph 21.
Perhaps I can... I don't know if the tribunal has a copy of the complaint referral. I think she's referring to the complaint referral, not the consent agreement.
We have reviewed it, but it's not in our files.
Oh, I do apologize. If I could just put it on record then. It records that Citibank NA is a subsidiary of the Citigroup. It's incorporated under the company laws of the United States of America. It's based in New York, and then it records Citibank as a foreign bank that conducts the business of a bank in South Africa through a branch called Citibank NA South Africa, which is the authorized dealer in South Africa. So Citibank NA is the cited party because it is the operative arm.
And then what is the relationship with Citigroup Global Markets?
As I understand it, Citigroup's Global Markets is a subsidiary of Citibank NA that doesn't conduct trades of this kind.
Sorry. Okay. Now, Citibank operates in South Africa. That's Citibank NA?
That's Citibank NA through a local branch.
Okay. And then Citigroup Global Markets, is that represented in South Africa?
I'm instructed that it's a PTY Limited incorporated in South Africa, but it doesn't conduct trades.
Trade at all. Now, in arriving, Mr. Mashlala, at the turnover figure, have you looked at whether these entities that are going to be given some kind of, I suppose, immunity in the sense that you're not going to take any further action against them if they cooperate fully with you, whether they trade and were their turnovers individually taken into account in arriving at the figure which you've agreed upon?
Yes.
And you've taken all those turnover figures into account?
We have consolidated the figures, and that's the figure that we used as the basis for determining the penalty.
Okay, and you've satisfied yourself as to the correctness of those figures.
Yes. We have been provided with audited financial statements by Citi, which consolidates those entities.
Okay, could you assist me by just explaining an issue which I don't fully understand in the context of the way the trading took place? Could I refer you to page 23 of your referral and to paragraph 45.51 specifically?
Is it paragraph or page?
45. Paragraph.
Sorry, it's paragraph?
45.5.1. of your referral to us.
45.5.1.
Yeah. The last line reads that generally the trader with large trade will be the first to be allowed to trade, and then the smaller ones would follow sequentially. What is the actual impact in the trading on that?
The banks agreed to take turns when trading.
Sure.
And as part of the agreement, the one with a large sums will go first, and the one with smaller ones will then follow sequentially. So what you have there is that you have competitors that are supposed to be trading at the same time, going to the market, creating the required liquidity in the market, but instead they agree that we are not going to trade in competition with each other, because once all of them they put their offers or their bids in the market, that gets to change the market in the sense that the demand will either be high or low depending on whether it's an offer or bid. But then when you agree among yourselves that you are not going to trade in competition, instead you'll take turns, you are reducing the liquidity, but you are also manipulating the levels of demand or supplies that it's supposed to be there in the market. Well, when you're supposed to have 5 bids out there, moving price either up or down, now you have 1, which it doesn't really move. It doesn't give anybody any option. So you've got to trade with that particular trader. So that is what essentially was happening here, and I don't know if I've.
Could you explain to us what the effect is of having the trader with the large trade being the first to allow to trade? How does that influence the price at which you buy or you sell?
Yeah, the amount that you have as a trader, if you have a larger amount, you are exposed to a larger risk. So, in that you may not be able to execute all the transactions that you need to execute because of the fact that there are many competing transactions. So you are exposed that you may lose money because the value can go up or can go down, or they can go up. So the rationale for the larger one to go first is so that they are the one with a larger risk, so they've got to mitigate it first before anybody else. So that if something happens, then they don't find themselves losing large sums of money.
And how does that benefit the person with a large trade who's then allowed in terms of this agreement to trade first? How does it benefit that person?
Well, firstly, you have managed your risk. The risk here is the risk of losing money. Sure. So if that risk doesn't materialize, then it means you have benefited. You have saved the money that could have lost as a result of your trading position, exposing you to a huge risk.
Okay. Let me put it a little differently, if you don't mind. Is the person with the large trade able to determine the price at which that person will sell or buy?
Perhaps you can repeat,
Yeah.
Honorable Member?
The person with the large trade who's allowed to trade first in terms of the agreement reached, is that person able to influence the price at which he buys or sells?
Yes, yes. It depends. If they agree to fix the offer, and you have a larger offer that if it's not fixed, the price would have been different. So because it's fixed, so you are not there's no difference. Remember the financial market works with, among other things, perceptions. If people see a large amount being traded, they tend to think that, the things are going, there's more demand or there's more supply, depending on whether it's a bid and offer. So the more you put in the market, the more you give indication as to whether, where is the market likely to go. If now you have agreements that allow traders to trade sequentially, that robs off the market the liquidity that they need in order to make decision, and ultimately the value will go up or down depending on if you put more or less money, then you get to sell expensive. If you put more, it gets to be cheaper. So depending on where you are, you do influence ultimately the value of the currency you are trading on.
Yes, thank you. And then could I just ask you to look at 45.52, please?
45.
The next paragraph, the next sub-paragraph.
Yes, it's related to what we are talking about, Honorable Member, because they reserve customers. Remember the liquidity you create in the market, where everybody is trading. You go into a Reuters platform, you post your bid or offers. Everybody is doing the same thing. Then there's a liquidity. There's money that is circulating there. But now, when traders agree that, this customer has approached me, has got this big order that I can, sell in the market, but decide to say, I'm going to sell it to my fellow traders. Again, it's a question of trying to mitigate the risk and making more money. They do agree that I will reserve this customer and trade with you off the platform, so that we don't create the liquidity that is required to be in the platform that will eventually influence the value.
Okay, thank you. Does 45.5 to mean that the persons who had made this agreement then agreed to purchase and sell to each other on behalf of their respective customers?